We back with another episode of Going Live with the MC. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little excited for this guest that we got today, man. I typically like to invite guests that I actually have some insight on. That way, it's a lot easier for me to have certain conversations, ask certain questions or so. But this person was very interesting. Very interesting to say the least. And I just was fascinated by this person. So I said, you know what? I may not know much about you, but we still gonna get you on the air, and we definitely got some stuff to chop up about. So today's guest is Dave U.O.G. He's a dope hip hop artist that I don't even know where he's from. That's crazy. That's embarrassing. Usually I know where they're from, but I know he's from New York. He's definitely in the streets, and he's a very intelligent brother. So I know that this conversation is about to be like crazy. So without further ado, I'm going to invite my guest. He should have been in here already, but yeah, we're gonna invite the guest in and see what's going on with my boy. He's here. My brother, what's good?
Yes,
Peace,
sir.
man.
What's happening?
Everything is good, man. How you feeling?
Oh, I'm doing amazing. I'm
That's
feeling.
what's up.
I'm
Happy to
feeling.
hear that.
I'm feeling. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm just adjusting my tripod,
Yeah,
so
yeah, do your thing.
my melanin could show on the screen.
You feel me?
And
Word, man.
I thought I
I'm
had.
actually sending a few invites to get some more people in here, man. I mean, a lot of people watch this afterwards, but I still like to get people in here while it's in real time so they could, ask questions and all that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's no doubt. And I want to say, man, first and foremost, it's good that you're holding space for independent artists. You know what I'm saying? On these lives and whatnot, man. That's a really good look
Yes, sir.
because
I a lot of times. Oh, my fault. You wasn't finished?
no, I was just gonna say that. I was just gonna add that most people take artists artists for granted when they don't have a huge following. You know what I'm saying? And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, they may not have a huge following yet, or they may not want a huge following, but their art is still amazing. They still make
That's a
good
fact.
material, and it should be worth
That's a whole fact.
acknowledging. Yeah, yeah. I thought my headphones was connected, but my headphones are on, but I can't hear you. So I'm just
Yeah,
take it
that's the
off.
weird thing. It's weird. I like to have mine connected too, but for some odd reason it doesn't work on Instagram Live. I don't know what that's about. Shout
Well,
out to
sure.
Mr. JT.
I thought it was just me.
Hey yo, real quick, shout out to everybody that's tuning in. If you have been here before, you know how this works. If you're new here, just simply click the question mark at the bottom. You get to chop it up with me and Dave. You can ask either of us a question, and we
Us a
will get
question
to it
and we
shortly.
will get
So
to it shortly.
yeah,
So
don't be afraid
yeah,
to
don't be
ask whatever
afraid
you
to
want to
ask.
ask.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um, so let's get
yeah.
straight to it, man. My boy Dave UOG and UOG is in the house. What does the UOG stand for?
House G stand for.
UOG.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Oh, UOG stands for Uplifting Our Game. The whole
Okay.
entire stage name means decided a vision enormous, uplifting our game.
Mm, that's
That's
tough. My boy got the whole acronym. That's
Yeah,
sick.
yeah, yeah.
I like that.
Because I
I
was
like that.
struggling to
like that.
word, thanks, man. I was struggling to find a rap name for myself because my previous rap name was Big Bam. But I told myself, yeah, because my nickname is Bam. So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, my cousin gave me that rap name. But I was much younger, so I said, all right, I plan on doing this in my in my adult years, and Big Bam is gonna fresh out of hello guys. Hey, peace, peace. Yeah. Kathy's on the live. But shout out to Kathy. But yeah, so me having the foresight so young. I mean, I was 17, it was like 18 years old and turning 19. This was in October, and I said I'm gonna need another name because for one, I didn't want everybody calling me Bam because that's a family name, and for two, I said Big Bam. I said I'm gonna be doing this in my adult years, so I said that can pretty much. I want a more mature stage name. Right. So the U.O.G came first, and then Dave, I was like, yo, that's because when I went to school in Harlem, and prior to me going to school in Harlem, everybody called me David. Then when I went to school in Harlem, they gave me more flavor, and it was like, everybody called me Dave. And I was like, yo, that has a nice ring to it. And then one guy called me Dave Wave. So then as I kept rhyming and stuff, I came up with another name, Dave Wave the Don Phenomenon Jaquan Johnson. So that stuck. And then I had another name, and then I used another name, Sugar Dave Daddy Macadon Supreme. And that stuck.
Dead, son. You should have stuck with that one.
What? What?
That's funny.
Which one?
I wouldn't have been mad if that was actually your name, man. I ain't gonna hold you. It got a little ring to it. It got a little ring to it. Like.
Oh no. I still best believe I still use it. I use it as much as I can. You know what I'm saying? But as far as word, as far as the name is, as far as the stage name, like like on my Instagram is Dave_U.O.G, which was Dave. To side of vision, I'm uplifting our game, and I always say Dave is the name, and the U.O.G is the movement, it's the purpose, and yeah.
Nah, that's what's up.
Yeah,
that's what's up. So one thing I've learned about you in my short time knowing you is that you move with intention. Like, you give me the vibe that you don't like to do anything that doesn't make sense.
Oh yeah.
I relate to that a lot because I'm shifting more into an intentional lane. Like I'm not gonna say I was never intentional, but now is more intentional. Like I know for sure I'm not going here if I don't have a purpose. I'm not saying that if it doesn't make any sense. Period. Everything is intentional. So was that something that you've adopted recently, or have you always been going through this from birth?
Yeah. I'm shoot. I would say ever since, because I was reading them, because most of us went to school, and some of us dropped out of high school and everything like that. But most of us went to school, and most of us, we read, but we don't read. You know what I'm saying? So I started picking up books on my own and started reading. I started to develop a sense of awareness of the way I moved and stuff. I remember in college, my freshman year in college, and they had this class. I don't remember the exact class, but it was a class where they were prepping the minds of the freshmen. And man, I wish I remember this class, but I remember her asking, my professor asking all of us, what did we want to do with our lives? What was our reasoning for going to college? And direction we wanted to. No one had an answer, and I was the only one that knew the answer to. You know what I'm saying? So, far as to answer your question, I've always had a sense of. I always had an idea of where I wanted to go in life, and I tried to do my best to be intentional with my moves to reach that destination and to also grow during the journey. But I would say in the last 5 years, it has really accelerated. You know what I'm saying? Based on the things that I do internally with my energy, with my vibration, and my frequency.
Nah, I love that. So you mentioned time, energy, and frequency. That's something
Yeah.
that I think people take for granted. Like, at what point did you realize that that was something that would matter moving forward in life, especially as an adult?
2019, which was a strange year. It was a transformative year.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I was doing things. I was running in circles, and I was getting nowhere fast. And I
Mm.
felt like I had to make some changes. And I was about shoot. I wasn't even 25 yet. And then I came across this guy on YouTube, Bob Proctor. So he was talking
Okay.
about vibration and frequency and stuff. And I'm like, yo, like it just sounded right to me. And then Bob Proctor did an interview, and he mentioned someone who inspired him, which was Reverend Knight. And I said, yo, Reverend Knight happened to be a black man. And he says,
Right.
Reverend Knight has a thing where it's like, I'm not black, I'm green. You know what I'm saying? Because he was about the law of attraction and the mind science and attracting what you want to be and to have. Reverend Knight was ahead of his time, and he's in the 60s, and he was a preacher in the 60s and the 70s, talking like there wasn't too many black men talking like that back then.
Right.
There's not too many black men talking like that the way he was now. So
Right.
2019 was the year where I really started. But again, when you come, because this is this is one of the things that I'm conscious of. When you come into new information, just because you may receive a download during your meditation, or you may watch one YouTube video, you don't know it all. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot to learn. So 2019 till now, that's like what, 5 years? That's like almost 6 years, and I'm still learning about the language of the universe, the frequency, the vibration, the energy, how I have to carry myself, how I have to wake up every day, being mindful of how I sleep, being mindful of my behavior patterns, the thoughts that I may have that don't serve me. I have to make sure that I lessen that. Not saying that they won't come up, but I have to make sure of be conscious of what I do frequently, because it's going to determine my frequency. You know what I'm saying? I have a great vibe, and I understand I have a great vibe because of the people who come to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? My energy is high because I take care of myself. I'm working out. I'm taking my supplements. Like, I'm doing things to make sure that I'm just, at my best every single day.
Mm-hmm. That's important.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of, I used to work in a library when I was younger. Like, I want to say, like, when I was around 20. And it was like a weird complex because I was the young dude in there helping the older dudes. Like, I was helping people write resumes and stuff like that, helping them find jobs and all of that, teaching them all the computer tricks, like how to do the copy with the control and C and stuff like that. Like, I was teaching them all of that. And there was this one dude, this black brother, used to come in every single day. I kid you not. And at first, I didn't understand what his plot was, because we're told everyone's supposed to get an hour on a computer, and with that hour, you get 20 free pages to print out. So at the end of his hour, he always come back and be like, "Yo, do you mind if I get like an extra 30 minutes? And if you could, I need like an extra 20 pages." And I didn't really have control over that, but because me and the supervisor was cool, she would give me the setup on how to do it. So at first, I didn't do it for him. I was kind of like, nah, everybody got to get an hour. Everybody got 20 pages, just being an asshole about it. But because I didn't know any better, it was like, this is just me doing my job. So one day I was outside the library. We had closed already. And I think at the time, I used to smoke Black and Mild. So I was smoking a Black and Mild out front. And he pulled up on me. He was like, yo, you off for work now? I could talk to you properly. And I was like, well, I'm thinking he holding a grudge against me or something. Like he want to beat me up or something. But he pulled up on me. He was like, yo, man, do you understand why I be asking you for the extra time and the extra papers? And I said, not really, it doesn't really matter to me. So he's like, nah, I'm gonna show you. So he was like, he took out the stack of paper that he had, and it basically was all the laws, all the penal codes, all the crimes that you can get away for, or the petty crimes that you can get away for. Basically, excuse me. Basically, he was studying the penal code to go against the law, because he was trying to say that there's much more to us than what they tell us. So And him sharing that with me, he basically was letting me know, like, yo, every single time that you learn something, you got to make sure you learn with the intent of using it. You know, so with that, I just kind of started to decide for myself, you know what? He's right. You know, so kind of like how you just one day randomly stumbled across a YouTube video. It was talking about the law of attraction. And from there, it started saying, like, in the video, they were saying you're going to meet certain people who seem like they're higher above you. They just happen to elevate their frequency. And then now you're attracting people on the frequency because it's a new world. It's basically like you're understanding a whole different language. Excuse me. And I thought it was just dope that how we got all of that from him just trying to teach me the penal code. Now, every time he would pull up on me after that, he would ask me a certain question. He would say, yo, what did you learn today? Or who did you meet today? Or something like that. And then he would ask me, do you think this is someone you should keep in your life long term? Or do you think this is someone you just met just for the, you know, as time passed? And it was
Mm.
difficult to answer that question because it was like, yo, so why is he asking me this stuff?
Wow.
You know, and it just took me a while to realize it. And then I just started meeting more and more people who would break it down further, like the law of attraction. Um, my uncle used to tell me actually when I was younger that, you know, beauty's in the eye of the beholder, which is also a more cuter way of saying the law of attraction, you know? So,
Right.
um, yeah, for sure. So, definitely it's been around since I was young, you know, but I think as an adult we really grasped the idea and how much it means so much to us, you know. So, shout out to your journey on that so far. Shout out my guy Chris Welch is in the building, Cass Keyboard in the building. Everybody that's tuned in, bring them thoughts. Feel free to ask questions. Y'all know the vibes. We got two melanated, educated brothers here, so don't hold back.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So moving on. Whenever I follow people on social media, I like to watch what they're doing, you know, and sometimes it gets frustrating because I actually take interest in people's stuff and they don't understand that I'm genuinely interested. Um, so like a lot of times I'll comment on certain things, you know, and there's been stuff that you were sharing and I was just like, yo, sir, like this dude is like he's doing a lot that I'm actually interested in.
Uh-huh.
And first off, I want to talk about how we met. I mean, do you want to share that story or because I mean, I guess the way that it is two different vantage points. But do you remember how we met?
Nah, it's funny because everyone who I met that day, it was pretty much a blur
Mm,
because I had so much going on that day, like good things. You know what I'm saying? I was running around, and then shout out to ZJ Biggs. I just came to support the event, and ZJ Biggs was like, "Yo, send me two of your tracks. You're gonna get on this mic and perform." And I'm just like, "All right," you know
uh,
what I'm saying? So I remember meeting you and like several other artists, but I was exchanging. Things were just warp speed in my head because again, everything was going, a lot was going on, and I had to leave right after. And
mm,
I remember our brief exchange, and then us exchanging, the IG handles. And some people I didn't even get a chance to like talk to in person that day. But after my performance, they followed me on IG, and I just reached out to them and just was like, thanks for the connection, and did you like the performance, and just followed up. You know what I'm saying? Because we're so in this day and age, we're so we're so invested in followers,
mm,
but not
mm,
necessarily the follow up.
mm,
You know what I'm saying?
mm. That's a fact.
That's a fact.
So my thing is, a lot of great companies, the companies that we buy from, everything, even these, like I went to a vegan restaurant yesterday, and like I just was paying attention to their marketing and how they have it set up to where they want to follow up with you about your
Mhm,
experience at the restaurant. Like they do the same thing with Uber Eats and things of that nature. Like these new age companies, they are serious about the follow up with the customer.
mhm.
If you have someone who likes your music, it is important for you to follow up with them because
100%.
that relationship is going to pay long term. You know what I'm saying? it's more than just looking at your followers and be like, oh, I got 2,000 followers now. Like, no, you gotta follow up with your followers. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I remember. Like, again, that day was a blur because I had so much, and I wasn't even expected to perform. But I networked with so many great people, including yourself, and here we are.
That's a fact. So from my vantage point, my homegirl Killer K, shout out to her Killer K. She had hit me up like I want to say like a good 3 weeks in advance, and she was like, "Yo, I got this show. It's a free event. Just pop up, you know." And me and the Killer, we met early. I want to say 23. Yeah, 23. Because I did. I was part of a huge artist mixtape. Like it was like 50 of us on that project.
Oh, wow.
And she was one of them that I met at the listening party, you know, and we just kind of like kept in touch. We connected. So anyways, I go to the show to go support her, and I didn't see you anywhere in there. I walked around the whole entire venue. I was talking to every single vendor. I was like really, because mind you, I'm low key still a vendor. I have an edibles business, so I don't do vending actively as much, but I still run the business. You know, just more so in the streets rather than behind the table. So I got, a lot of times I walk around, I support the vendor. Shout out to Small Business Mama. She was one of those people that I spoke to. And I think after a Killer perform, well, she was like maybe the second or third person to perform. Her homeboy Nigma pulled up and he ended up performing. So I think around the time that he was getting his music right with the DJ, that's when I saw you walk in, and you was the only person with a suit on. So I was like, okay, this guy got to be interested. Like, and then obviously the hairstyle, I was like, okay, because I got locks, So I'm looking at it like, I've never seen this style that you have. So I'm like, oh, this is dope. Like, so it was like an instant boost of dopamine. It was like, oh shit, okay, somebody that you could just feel the energy, the frequency. And then when you walked back up to the DJ and you grabbed the mic and got ready to perform, I was like, oh, nah, son, I got to hear this. So you started rapping, and I was just like, yo, this dude is actually fire. Like, there's no vocals. Like, he's really going off on this shit. So I'm like, yo, nah, I gotta chop it up with homie. So yeah, as soon as you finish performing, I definitely made sure to pull up on you and introduce myself and all that. So it was really just a genuine interest, as far as an artist, and I just want to commend you on that, by the way, too, because a lot of people show up and they, catch the butterflies, the cold feet and stuff, but you came through, you was ready.
Oh, yeah.
And now you revealed that you weren't even supposed to perform, so that makes it 10 times better. Like,
oh yeah, man. Yeah, man. I was happy I had that experience because it showed like my trueness as an MC, like always staying ready. Like I really value that. I admire MCs, fellow MCs who, they're always prepared to drop a 16, to perform a song, to drop a freestyle. Like that's a skill in itself. So when he gave me that opportunity, I said, yo, all right, and I had the suit on. Kathy said, Dapper Dave. Yeah, I had the suit on and everything. I said, let's go. And it was a good look. It was really good.
Now that's dope. So to dive into that, first off, what is your? I mean, it's kind of cliche because I mean we're around the same type of artists in many ways. After listening to the songs that you sent me, I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of similarities as far as like topics at hand, the style that we like to go on a beat approach. One thing I will say that you exceed in is the whole writing thing. The story you posted earlier where you said that you write a lot more because you used to write every day.
No,
I thought that was pretty interesting. Huh?
No, I write songs faster because I write every day.
Right. And I thought that was interesting. So, to segue into the question, where did you find your love for hip hop? Like, where did that come from at first?
Wow, that's a great question because that takes me back to 06. I was in Jersey at the time visiting some family, and I wasn't allowed to listen to rap music. My parents, they were Adventists, so we listened to a lot of gospel, R&B. My pops, both of my parents are from the Bronx, but my pops, like they came up in the crack era, you know what I'm saying? So they protect us from a lot of things, you know what I'm saying, including secular music. So we didn't have that growing up. But I was 12, and I'll never forget. I was in the van with I was in my aunt's van, and I heard Busta Rhymes, "I Love My Chick," and I was like, bro, that song right there to this day, that song right there, it amazed me when I was 12. But now I understand why it amazed me, because the structure of the song, the way he wrote it, his flow, his cadence, the way he stayed on subject, I was blown away by that at 12 years old. And then the same year, he performed on BET with Touch It, with all them rappers coming out, Papoose, Lloyd Banks, Missy Elliott, Mary J. Blige. And I was like, ever since then, I was like, yo. And Busta Rhymes been, yo, my goodness. And then that's why I started diving in. And I'm 13. I wasn't even, no, yeah, I was 13. I was 13 years old listening to Biggie Smalls, bits and pieces, because at the time it was LimeWire and FrostWire and all that other stuff. So I wasn't even listening to the full albums. I was just trying to get my hands on like as much music as I could listen to.
Right.
So, but my top 5 back then was Big L, Busta Rhymes, Nas, Biggie, and Tupac. You know what I'm saying? And I was those were the 5 that, and Big L came on later on. But when I heard Big L, I was like, yo, I had to find that music from my mom. I was like, yo, this stuff is right here. And then Big Pun too. Oh my goodness. So but yeah, my love for rap really began at the age of 12, listening to Busta Rhymes, "I Love My Chick," and that song is just so phenomenal. Like, you talking about songwriting 101, a real rap song, just forget rap, just a song in general, structure, everything. Busta Rhymes, he got some of the best written songs in hip hop, hands down.
See, I know you're a real hip hop head because of the way you broke it down. You said the song structure, the cadence, the flow. Like, see, stuff like that people don't really pay attention to when it comes to music, you know. And I think that's really dope. Like, for me, similar story, kind of. You know, my mom wasn't like super religious. Shout out to Ape Escape. Shout out, who else just tapped in? Shout out to everybody that just tapped in. Appreciate y'all. CJ, I see you, my brother. Show love. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hit that question mark at the bottom. I appreciate it. Like, we had a similar thing. My mom wasn't like super religious or nothing like that. Well, my family was, like my grandmother, my aunts, everyone before my mom, they were like, you know, huge on the Christianity thing. My mom just wasn't really a fan of it. Yeah, I don't think she really liked to listen to hip hop too much. But the dude that she was dating at the time, my step pops, he listened to the same shit all the time. It was the same R. Kelly album. It was the same Biggie Smalls, Life After Death. It was the same Tupac and Bitches. It was the same Jay-Z, Reasonable Doubt, every other day or so, or whenever his days off from work were, because he worked for the Board of Ed. So he would come home every weekend and play those same albums back to back to back. Other than that, we would have Michael Jackson, we had Neo, we had Mary J. Blige. My mom was huge on Mary. And for me, I've always wondered, like, why do they repeat this one part of the song? Or like when we used to actually hold physical albums, I used to look at it and be like, yo, how come the title of the album is actually a song on the album? Like, stuff like that used to blow my mind. So then I started looking deep into it, and I found out the structure, like chorus, hook, bridge, and stuff. You know, so I think again, still never like crossed my mind to be a rapper or anything like that. Like, this didn't start until I got to high school, and it wasn't like I was against it. It's just that I didn't see myself doing it. You know, but I did love to write, so I feel like that's where the correlation came in. So I got put in a program called My School Has the Rhythm Not Violence, and when they told me to write a song, it was like subconscious, like just activated, and I just picked up the pen and wrote my whole verse without even understanding how to write a song. Like, I didn't realize I was studying this for like 4 or 5 years prior to actually doing it. So just like bodied it right after, like, and that's how it happened. Like, ever since then, I just started listening to more music. I started discovering different artists. I think at a young age, I found out about the underground independent scene. You know, so I got to listen to a lot of artists independently before even they were famous. You know, so it's been really dope, like getting in tune with music and seeing how people receive it differently and how some people like to tell their stories differently. It's a beautiful art form, man. I wouldn't change it for the world.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah,
So
true indeed.
we got a few questions.
Okay.
So Mr. JT, why is not popping up on the screen? Oh, so Mr. JT wants to know if you got some work on the way. I don't know if he's still in here, but yeah, JT, if you're still in here, this the answer to your question, brother.
Yeah, yeah. I got something coming. If anything, because what I've been doing recently is just collecting emails and giving people the song before it officially comes out and asking for their feedback if they have any at all. So that's what I've been doing to just keep people engaged. But I have some material coming out, and I'm really, really excited for it,
Are
to
you
say the least.
selling it, or are you just kind of giving it to them?
Yeah, well, far as the song itself, I just been giving it to them and making sure that I follow up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Type of thing. But again, because us as independent artists who don't have a machine behind us, we have to figure creative ways to, build that foundation. Getting our hands dirty. The grassroots, as far as cultivating that audience that we desire. So I tell artists all the time, like, I used to tell, this team I used to work with, I'm like, man, like, I said, people want to see me perform. People want to listen to my music. They're not obligated to listen, to do either one. So we can't sit up there and waste time and take them for granted because for whatever reason, it's like, no, if we have people engage, I don't care if it's just one person. If we have somebody who's willing to engage and pay attention to us, with all this music, with all the different artists out here, I say, man, we gotta appreciate them, and we appreciate them by giving them something to consume, giving them something that, hey, hold this, you know what I'm saying? Here's what I have. Here's and that goes a long way.
Nah, that's huge. So we're gonna circle back on that one. Actually, I have a very interesting question for you about that too. So we have another question from Kathy. She wants to know, when did Dapper Dave write his first song?
Oh wow, that's another good
If you remember what it
question.
was about, that's a bonus.
Man, you know what's so funny? I still got my first rap book. My
Nice.
first rap book. I still
That's
got my
dope.
first rap book. And this is way back in '06. I still have writings when I was like in the second grade. Yeah.
I used to be like that. I used to be like that.
Yeah. Word. But the first song that I wrote, yeah, that had to be in seventh grade. I was 12. I was 12.
That's dope.
Like I started young, man. I started real young. I had no idea. I would have been man. Yeah, when I started, I had no idea I was gonna be doing it for this long, or see the growth in it.
Right.
It's been incredible. That's why I've been so adamant and so intentional. Like this year, the next 4 years, there has to be some tangible results. You know what I'm saying? Because I've been watering the seed for a very, very long time. And I feel I could have been 1,000. Listen, I feel I know I'm a brilliant dude. I know I have some type of intelligence. You know what I'm saying? And I'm capable to do many things when I set my mind on it. You know what I'm saying? And I could have had a bunch of professions. I probably could have been maybe a quarter of the way from retirement, based on the years and how my work ethic and how I can keep a job. You know what I'm saying? You got most of those that can't keep a job. You know what I'm saying?
That's a fact.
But however, I decided to rap. I decided to rap, and it feels good writing songs. It feels good. I mean, there's a lot of people who envy others because their inner child is gone. You know what I'm saying? And so an adult an adult with an active inner child in them, that's so viable. So I said to myself, because I love it so much, I have to figure out a way where it can provide some type of financial security, because I want to do it for the next 10 years or 15
Mm-hmm.
years without reporting to a job that I hate. Why would you want to spend your life doing something that you don't want to do?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? If you can live your life the way you want to on your own terms, doing something that you love and earning the income, providing for yourself and your family, I mean, that's something that's a dream come true. That's a dream in itself.
That's a
So
fact.
to realize that dream, I said, man, yes, it's about time for me to start really accumulating some results, because I'm pleased. I got to the point where I wanted to quit this like about maybe it's like 8 years ago. But then the thing is, with all the strong indicators, it told me to keep on going. The dreams, the rappers I met in person, like it was just right there. Like, listen, when I was at my lowest point, I said, man, this thing ain't worth it. And then it's like the universe was like pointing me in the direction, like, nah, just keep on going. So, I mean, I would have been satisfied. I honestly would have been satisfied working at Whole Foods, you know what I'm saying, being a team leader somewhere, putting chips on the shelf, telling people what to do. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but from my life experiences and the way I'm able to put it on paper, the way I'm able to record and express it, you know what I'm saying, is something where I don't take for granted. And I said, man, now with the brother asked the first question, and with Kathy asked when I first started rhyming, it's one of those things where it's like, now it's time for me to be heard by people who've never heard of Dave U.O.G before. Let's see what happens. You know what I'm saying? But to not see what happens and to just fold because I've been doing it for so long and I haven't maybe seen like the huge results yet, it's just like, that's asinine. It's like, yo, I tell everybody, just keep going no matter what you're doing.
So
Yeah.
you said that you wanted to, about 7 years ago, you thought about calling it quits.
Yeah.
Even if it didn't happen 7 years ago, it could have just happened yesterday or somewhere along the line. What was a moment where you did something related to your craft and it showed you that you was on the right path?
Mm, mm. What was something that I did that showed that I was
What
on the
was an
right path?
experience that showed you was on the right path, rather? Not more so what you did, but what was an experience that, that occurred that made you be like, you know what, I'm going somewhere with this. I belong here.
Well, I'm gonna have to tell the story more than once because it's a real special story. And once my following grows, because we spoke about being intentional, so that's the thing. I'm like, I want to expose myself and put myself out there. Once my following grows, I have to tell the story again, but I'll tell it now. So it was a day where it was in the summertime, and I was working Grubhub, doing deliveries in the city. It was really slow that day, and my rent was due. I was gonna meet up with a friend in Harlem the next day to borrow $30 to pay the rent on time and stuff like that. And I remember writing in my journal, and I still have the journal. I actually I gotta read back on that journal. So I was writing, and I was writing in my journal, and I was like, man, I think I should stop rapping because it's affecting my mental health. I remember writing those words and quit. I was like, I was gonna just stop because I thought it was really affecting my mental health. It was just too much pressure. You know what I'm saying? And I was doing everything on my own. I didn't have a team or anything. So fast forward, it was at nighttime. I was on 14th Street, 14th and First Avenue, and I met this guy. His name was Black. He went by the name of Black, and he was telling me how he was one of the guys that was selling. He was selling things. He's selling items in front of this church. It was a McDonald's on the corner, and there's a church next to it. So he was telling me about his story. Huh?
Was that Church Ave?
No. This is
That's the
14th
only
Street.
McDonald's I know with a church next to it.
No. 14th Street on First Avenue. There's a
Oh,
McDonald's.
nice.
Yeah, it's a McDonald's on that block, and there's a church right next to it. And on the weekends, they have these street vendors. So this guy named by the name of Black, and he was telling me his story of how he got hit by a bus and he survived. But he told me that the pain was so much that like he can't sleep at night and he cries. So he was telling me his struggle with the pain after he survived him being hit by a bus, and then that right there told me like, listen, you in physical health, you're strong, you're young, like you're gonna be all right. I said, cool, checkpoint, right? So then I ended up going to Washington Square Park because there was actually I picked up an order. KFC was on KFC is on the corner of 14th Street and 2nd Avenue. I remember this clear as day. So I picked up an order, and they don't sell them no more, but he was these potato wedges. I'm not a fast food eating person, but I didn't have no money, so I was hungry, so I was like, all right, let me just eat these potato wedges because I picked up somebody's order, but they canceled it. So I'm in the park, Washington Square Park, and it's probably like maybe 10 o'clock at night. This was my last delivery before I went back to Brooklyn to my room. I'm eating these potato wedges, and I'm walking my bike to the train station. While I'm walking my bike to the train station, Andre 3000 is walking towards me. So, yeah. So Andre 3000 and his girl, they're walking towards me, and then we both look at each other, and I said, what's up? He said, what's good, man? He's like, I say, yo, great to see you. He said, likewise. He stops at the corner. I kid you not. This is on West 3rd Street. He stops on the West 3rd and McDougal. He stops on the corner and says, oh, you came by the house, right? And I'm just like, holy shit. Like, he thinks we met before. So then I said, nah, we never met, but, I just happen to be an independent artist, blah, 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 blah. And I said I wanted to know if you had any advice for someone like myself. And prior to that, I was telling him a little bit of what I overcame recently, and, and I told him, I said, you have any advice for an independent artist like myself? And he stopped, and he was just like, nah. And I was so shocked by that. I was like, yo, like, this is Andre 3000. You don't got no advice for me? Right. So then his woman was like, if you got this far, you're doing something right. And I'm like, wow. So then him and I start talking about, forget the music. Him and I start talking about the law of attraction, and we got into a deep conversation. And then he said, at the end, he was like, bro, this man was talking to me like he had all night to talk. And it's like we met before. So then at the end of the conversation, he says, yo, man, I know you're going to be all right. And he said, this is not much, but here you go. And he gives me $40. The money that I needed to pay my rent on time, he gives me $40 right there. And he's like, yo, I know you're going to make it. And, man, like, I didn't realize what I was going through. Sometimes you don't know what you're going through until you tell somebody the story and you see their facial expressions. You know what I'm saying? And the facial expressions he made, I said, man, this is like some stuff. You know what I mean? And I thanked him. I was like, man, this is going right to my rent. And I met him a few times during that summer because at the time he was he had a collection in New York. He was working on some sneakers. So he was living in Soho at the time, and him and I, we ran across each other like a couple of times because I was outside. When I say I was outside almost every day working. So that was the moment. That right there was the moment. And then when Tupac visited me in the dream and told me to keep going, because it was like one of my friends betrayed me, and that was like one of my dogs, and he was doing music and stuff. He's like, man, nah. And Pac I wrote a song about it and all that, and that's what I knew. I was like, man, this is something deep, and I just pray that with all my life experiences, I could put it to my art, and someone can be inspired, somebody can be uplifted, and really just maximize their potential. You know what I'm saying? Be the greatest version of themselves, and just be inspired by what they listen to from me. because it's been a journey. Like I said, I wanted to quit a couple of times, and then I stopped doubting myself, and I stopped saying like I want to stop, because every time I do those two things, it's like I have these massive epiphanies where it's kind of chilling. So I'm like, I stopped saying certain stuff to myself, because like my higher self hears it and be like, oh, word, we got you with this. So that's why 2025, like I'm really just locked in, because I'm carrying the vibration, like, listen, and I'm carrying the vibration getting full of the feeling that I've already made it. However way it goes, I don't need any DJ, I don't need no promoter, I don't need no label, I don't need any of these people in the industry to vouch for me. I don't need any of them to put a stamp of approval. The Most High is my stamp of approval, because I guarantee you, if it wasn't meant for me to do this, I guarantee I would have had a career in something else, making 6 figures by now. You get what I'm saying? So now that I'm here, I said, listen, now it's on and popping. You know what I'm saying? And making sure that we're rappers, but it's like the rap game is so oversaturated. So now it's on us to really be on some, all right, we got to say something. Like I say, I don't even like to tell people I rap. And then if I do, if it gets out, I'll be like, yo, I'm a speaker who speaks his mind in rhythm and rhyme. Like, just my energy, I already stand out. You know what I'm saying? So just that alone, and then like, you know, with the women, when I say, you know, I'm Sugar Dave Daddy Macadon Supreme, like, you know, they like that stuff. You know what I mean? So it's just a way. All it is just words the way you put it together.
Right,
but the
right,
fact
right,
that you carry yourself, and the way you carry yourself as an artist, you know what I'm saying, you'll get that support. You'll get that support. And I was writing. I finished the whole song last night, and it took me maybe 3 hours to write it. And I like to, when I'm starting a song, I like to finish. When I'm on a roll, I like to finish it that same day. You know what I'm saying? And that same moment. Then after that, I move on to something else. And I said, man, nah, I got to do something with this material, because there's just so much, and I'm saying things that is profound. I'm saying things in just a regular conversation that people are like, wow. Like people tell me, like, man, you say things that's really has me thinking. If I put music, then it's like, man, but it has to have substance. I've been through too much and been doing this for too long for me to be like, pop that pussy and shake that ass and da 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 da. I don't need to make music like that. Because if I wanted to make music, I would have did that 10 years ago.
You know,
we New York MCs. We New York MCs. We are from the Mecca of hip hop. We are the originators, and we black. So it's one of those things where it's in our genes. We can say whatever we want to say. We don't have to say what they want us to say to be relevant, to be popping. We just got to make it look good. The presentation is everything.
100%.
The presentation is everything. I know people who know how to cook their ass off, but they have an emphasis on how the food looks. If the food looks good, most people are going to be like, yo, that food look good. They're going to think it's going to taste good. It's the same thing with your music. You know what I'm saying? You have your music coming out, man, make it seem like, you know, make it seem like as though you the next up, or your time is now, with visuals and everything like that, and people gonna support it. People love quality. I don't care where it comes from. People love quality. Food, clothes, music. Everything. People love quality. Cars, it don't matter. If people want to, a lot of us are consumers. Most of the world are consumers, and it's a small portion of the world that are producers. People consume quality. It don't matter what it is, what genre, what field. People consume quality. So if you have quality music, I'm telling you, every independent artist, you gotta take this stuff seriously. Make sure you put the quality stuff out. Make sure you put the quality content. Because I guarantee you, if you put quality work out, if they don't consume it in the States, they damn sure gonna consume it overseas. Somebody's gonna eat it up, especially if you got a story attached to it.
Yo, listen, first off, I just gotta let that one breathe, man. I gotta let that one breathe for a second. I'm gonna give you your flowers, man, because that was a dope story of meeting Andre 3K, like your keep going moment. Shout out to that for real. And you man, I already knew this was gonna be an impactful episode, man. I just knew it. Like, you know, like, and this is my thing too. I don't like when people ask me to be on the platform. Like, I'll never take a request. So it's always if I find you interesting, and it could be anybody. I could have known you for years and just found you interesting yesterday. Whatever it is, if I find something interesting, you on the platform. So
Yeah.
I just knew it was
Yeah.
going to be like that. To to share with you as well. I don't think I've ever had a moment where I wanted to give up. I kind of did wonder like how I was going to get to the next level, like trying to figure out like what do I have to do. Um, but I think the dopest, because I have a whole lot of these moments, but I think the dopest moment for me was meeting Joel Ortiz. I was at the time working with elderly people, well, developmentally disabled people, they
Mm-hmm.
who just so happen to be elderly. And I was taking one of my patients to his day program. And usually when I do that, I like to decide if I'm going to walk from 10th Ave all the way back down to First, or do I hop on the bus? So this particular day, I decided, you know what? I'm going to just wait for the bus. I have my little, my beats. I put them on and I pressed shuffle on my playlist. The very first song that came on was Lil Piggies by Joel Ortiz. And as
Mm.
I'm bumping, I'm jamming. I kid you not, 5 minutes later, the man walked right around the corner. I said, no fucking way. So I
Wow.
looked at him. Like he walked past, he was like this walking past me. I looked at him. I'm like, hell no. So I took my headphones off. I said, yo, bro, listen to this. He looked at me like he was like, nah, son, there's no way I'm about to put that on. So I said, no, bro, put the headphones on. He listened to it, started jamming for a second. He said, oh, okay. So he just gave me a dap right then and there. So he took off the headphones. We started chopping it up. And it was more so like, I love the fact that how this happened, like how you just kind of summoned me. And he was, excuse me, he was just mad cool with it, mad casual. He didn't try to act Hollywood or nothing. He was like, yo, I appreciate you really, doing this. It's really made my day. You made me smile. I was just trying to go do some retail therapy, but this was even better. And, I was like, yo, that's beautiful, So that was like for me, one of the most pivotal moments where it's like, yo, I know for a fact if I keep going, I'm gonna have way more moments like this. So, kudos to that, man, to keep going moments for sure.
What
Um
year was
2018, 2017,
okay.
2018.
Okay.
This is right before I started my journey overseas, which I wanted to get back to with you as well too.
Yeah.
Um Speaking of quality, I think that was my thing, always trying to get people to listen to my music because it was quality. And I felt like, and this is why I felt like I needed to go to the next level. Or how do I get there? Because I felt like the people that were making music, they were making secular music. They were making, music that just didn't seem genuine. It wasn't quality music at all. Yet these were the people that were like the most revered. And I'm like, how? So I think I just started going on Instagram at the time. This is when I really started to understand social media. And I started like, most people be in the comments as a troll. I'm like, nah, I'm looking for something in the comments. Like, so I would like scroll through comments and look to see who had like the most intellectual comment or who said the most funniest thing or whatever. And I would speak to them based on what they said.
Mm-hmm.
So in doing that, I came across a post of an independent artist named Futuristic. And he was writing a book called the Book of Independence. Like not independence, but independence.
Mm.
So, and his caption was, if you guys have any questions, well, he said, I'm writing this 36-page guide. If you guys have any questions that want to be answered in the book, please post it here. And this one kid, I don't exactly remember what he was questioning. We still good friends to this day. My guy, Luke Eventide, he's a dope producer, engineer, acoustic singer, whatever, you name it. He's the embodiment of music in the UK. But yeah, at the time he was like 17, and he asked a question about, I believe it was more so about like, how do you know when's the right time to release a song or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kind of jumped right on it, like, because this is like the kind of question I wanted to ask, but I already knew the answer to it. So the fact that somebody else was looking for the answer, I was like, boom, let me just boom, So I hit him with the whole thing, and from there we started like we connected. And then shortly after that, I went to a concert and I met this radio DJ from the UK. And I was in a cipher and I kind of like bombed it. Like I was mad nervous, couldn't remember my verse for nothing. Matter of fact, what it was is that they didn't tell us what beat we was gonna rap to. And this dude comes in and throws in all about the Benjamin. So I'm like, man, I didn't rehearse for this. So I'm not the best freestyler. I'll just throw that out there right now.
Uh-huh.
So like, if you just ask me to freestyle on the spot, I'll try. I'm not gonna say no, but
Uh-huh.
don't expect what you would get from me if I was to like spit a written or something like that. You know, like
Uh-huh.
so yeah. At this point, I was kind of like, all right, whatever, rapping. I didn't know this guy was listening to me the whole time.
Mm.
So after that or whatever, he takes me outside, pulls out his phone, and he's like, start recording an interview. He's like, wants to talk to me. After the interview, he's like, yo, I want you to get your passport and come to London. Well, first he asked if I had one. And I said no. And he said, yo, I want you to get your passport and I want you to meet me in London. And 2 years later, I made the trip happen. So saying all of that to say that this all came from quality connections. Like, like no longer worrying about well, yes, I worry about who's listening to it, but instead of listening to like the totality of who's listening to it, I'm listening to like the smaller people, the ock in the corner store, the mailman on his way to drop off the letter, stuff like that. I'm looking at these people now,
Mm-hmm.
so it just became much more prevalent to me that, like you said, you got to look for your audience. Like these people are here, you just can't like people they're consumers of quality. So yeah, like they can't ignore it,
Yeah.
And I think my biggest thing was working on presentation, but I also think that I was so authentic with it that people wanted to rock with it. Like there was a point in time where I was giving out my the Unexpected Volume 2. I was giving out burned CDs. It didn't have no cover art, no nothing, just a CD, and it said The Unexpected Volume 2, and I'm giving them out to people on the streets. Like, I was sending them through I had a lot of people in the UK. I was sending them out in the mail, and I was paying the postage. Like I'm
Mm.
paying the shipping fee, which is expensive, by the way. Let me just say that. So
I can.
I want to say I spent at least 200 sending out CDs to the UK.
Wow.
And then I did a concert back in June, earlier last year, and one of the dudes bought the album to the concert, and I was like, oh, like he still had it, So I thought that was like really dope, and it just puts an official stamp on what you said about people being consumers of quality, like,
Right.
So it's
Because
quality is
quality.
real. So if anyone is listening, yes,
No, because I wanted to add because with the quality comes the whole experience.
mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I was a pretty last year, the last 2 years, I performed a lot. I performed quite a few places, but I started to lessen that and being mindful of where I was because I said, for one, I see myself a lot further than a lot beyond these places. You know what I'm saying? Because of the work that I'm
Sure.
putting in. And for two, it's just like people who are curating these events. I'm like, man, they're not taking into account of the experience of the
Nope.
person who's coming, and that makes it bad. It's a bad look for the artist and their brand. Is like, man, listen, if you're not going to do a proper sound check, if you're not going to check the mics, if you're not going to start on time, if you got maybe 30 artists because you're so greedy, instead of putting maybe five on a bill, you're gonna put 30 artists, and the person who's performing last is like performing 2 o'clock in the morning. The person that come on, bro. So I had to say, like, man, listen. And with my experience and the things that I've seen, what I've been doing it for so long, I'm like, man, let me do my thing and create experience because I care about the experience of the consumer, of the audience, because I'm a fan of music as well. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm gonna come see somebody perform, I want the experience. I went to the Blue Note. I had my bow tie on, I had my suit on, and I don't listen to CDs because I don't have a CD player, but I bought the CD. Like I buy merch. Like I want the full experience because it's a part of my life. It's a part of I want fulfillment. So to perform, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. You want the quality. The quality is gonna breed the experience for the person for the audience, for the fan.
You
Yeah.
you posted something earlier today as well too. See, I tell you, I watch a lot of people's stories. Like I hate that I'm on social media as much, but I'm not. Like I don't post a lot. If I
Mm.
post, it's usually in my story. But for the most
Uh-huh.
part, I try. I'm more like an observer. Like I like to watch what other people are posting. And I'm very big on fine tuning my algorithm too. So like if I see anything that I don't want to see, like I don't like to see excessive twerking, all of that, get off my page. Like, I don't like to see dudes talking negatively about stuff off my page, So the
Yeah.
people that I do follow, they tend to post a lot of interesting things. So anyways, you said something, going back to our quality conversation as well too. You said um what you said, I can't remember verbatim, but you were basically saying that if you're an artist and you're not getting booked for any shows, you should be putting on your concert. Or if you feel like, or if you have some type of people that want to listen to your music, you should be putting on your own shows.
Yeah.
And I thought that was very, very powerful because I speak to a lot of artists, and a lot of them keep saying, well, the major point was me switching from DSP to DTC, which is digital streaming platform to direct to consumer. I know you know what that means, but
Yeah.
everyone else. So direct to consumer is literally as it sounds, y'all, literally. Um, and these artists, I kid you not, when I did that and I released the album, my DMs was flooded. Everyone's telling me, well, why are you not on DSPs anymore? We can't listen to the album or blah, blah, blah. I was like, no, you got to go to the website and download it, buy it. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's donation based. So I'm not asking you for like to break an arm and a leg, but check it out, right? But then again, the artists, they started asking me, well, why did you do that? Aren't you afraid that people are not going to find you? No, not worried about that. And then when I put together the concert, I was one ticket away from selling out. And in that moment, I realized that I have a much bigger network, and a lot of artists would tell me, oh, well, I don't know how to do that, or I don't know if I'm ready for that, or oh, I didn't make it to that level yet. And it's like, bro, you never know when you ready, bro. You just got to do it. Like, take that risk,
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, man, I definitely stand behind you on that one. So what drove you to that? Mind you, I feel like you answered that already when you spoke about the showcases, having the 30 artists performing at 12 o'clock. Stuff like that used to get me heated, bro, like pissed off. So, but what
Oh, yeah.
ultimately made you realize that you can do this on your own?
Yeah, I mean, well, when people tell you that they'll buy your shirt, like they'll buy your merch, they'll come to see you perform, like you gotta take heed to that. Because people are spending hard earned money to support you and you don't have to. So
Mm-hmm. Fact.
they see something in you that you probably don't even see in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So then it comes to the questions like, okay, how do I harness this? Because this is a sign that I can generate money somehow, some way. And how do I do it?
Mm-hmm.
What are the steps? How do I protect myself legally? So if it does catch if people in the industry, if they hear it, they won't steal it. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
that nature. But again, I mean, when people ask me when is your next show, how can I buy your merch or things of that nature, and you can just hear. If we spoke about vibration, you hear the vibration of the voice, and it resonates with me. I'm like, yo, this is a thing, and people have always showed me love in the past. I mean, since I was man, I was 2021, man. People coming out to see me perform. You know what I mean? But now it was one of those things where I would like to make it consistent. There's no drop offs. There's just only build ups. There's no breakdowns. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna start off small to build it up. So by the time 10 years down the line, you know what I'm saying, it could be more so of a it'll be less of a fad and more of a just a legacy. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Um, because again, the whole Dave U.O.G. the side of vision enormous of lifting our game. I think that's powerful in itself. You know what I mean?
I love
So
that you keep saying the whole thing.
yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. I think it's powerful and stuff. And the thing is, I want to add. Well, I just know that this something that's going to be happening for me with this art because of my disciplines and the way what I'm willing to do, the sacrifices I'm willing to make. I told somebody like, listen, if you can control your appetite and or your sex drive, there's pretty much nothing you can't do.
Mm-hmm.
Mind or your spirit. You know what I'm saying? I read something and it said like entrepreneurship is more of a spiritual thing. It's more of a spiritual journey. And I said,
100%.
man, that's so true because when I started developing these disciplines, and is a is a chapter in the Think and Grow Rich book by Napoleon Hill, Sexual Transmutation. So basically,
Hmm.
you in the prime of your youth, and you know what I'm saying, and you're healthy, and you have this massive sex drive, and you're just putting your thoughts into something else
Hmm.
instead of sex. So if you can do that and transmute that energy, even if you're going through something in life that may seem negative to most, you know what I'm saying? Transmute that energy and turn it into a positive. It's gonna make you stronger.
Hmm.
You have this resistance, you lift it up, you lift up yourself with that resistance. It's gonna make you stronger. It's gonna make you wiser. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And I'm like, listen, if if I'm able to do this, if I'm able to fast, if I'm able to go without sex and for long periods of time and things of that nature and work on myself, bruh, I'm not gonna tell myself no. I'm not gonna tell myself no, I can't do something. And I got away from people who don't believe in themselves, who have this self doubt, and who no, it's just like no, you just
That
can't.
part.
If you're willing to make them those type of sacrifices, especially a lot of young men, they're not willing to do that. They're not capable
Facts.
of doing that. So if you're willing to do that, you got to be all in. I'm like, listen, well, there's a lot of people. This. You have athletes, you have thinkers, you have activists, you have all types of people following this level of discipline. But if you're
Hmm.
following this level of discipline and you just happen to rap, bro, you got a high calling. You know what I'm saying? It's just no way around it. There's no way
Right.
around it. If you're able to, with the discipline, everything is accelerated. You're retaining information more. You're able to write songs in an hour or two, whole songs, intro, hook, chorus. Your voice starts getting deeper. Your testosterone is up, bruh. I tell any artist,
That's
especially
interesting.
for men, go for it because it has to be something for you.
Nah, I like that we just easily flowed into this because it was one of my topics. But I like how it just meshed like naturally. So to share a little bit about my journey with that, and thanks for your transparency, by the way, too.
Yeah.
So I've always been very selective with who I decided to interact with. I don't know where it came from. I just intuitively, I just know that, even whether it's a quick fling or something that we dealing with over time, I just know for a fact I don't want to deal with it. So I was always
Yeah.
selective with that. But then it started to like you said, it started to invade my thoughts to where it was like at one point I wouldn't say it was all I thought about, but it was like the simplest thing could like activate it. And I
Mm-hmm.
used to get mad at myself. Like it used to be to a point I'm in an interview, a job interview, and somebody says something, and I'm just like looking around like I can't control my mind now because it's just going off the hook. And at first I think I met a woman who was into it at first. And she started talking about like her challenges of having a high drive. And she talked about how, well, she was more so into the religion. So she said she used to have nightmares whenever she did that. And she felt like, God was visiting her in her dreams and punishing her because she would do these type of things out of wedlock. She said that she wasn't on a good diet, things of this nature. And it started like making me really look into it like, yo, do people really like attach sex to energy? And it just became more clearer. Like it definitely is. Like, is it? And I'm pretty sure you can relate to this. A lot of times you've probably connected with someone and the energy just afterwards was just like, why did I do that? You just leave yourself thinking, yeah, yeah. So,
During the energy during was like you shouldn't be doing
even
this.
then, yeah, even then, facts, even then. And that's when I started realizing, like, you know what? I got to be a lot better at this. So, um, and I think that's where we really started ultimately talking because you started speaking on, well, you probably been doing it, but when I started paying attention to you, these are the things that you were talking about.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to ask the question because my niece is right there. But I mean, I have these real conversations with them all the time. So they're not. It's nothing new to them. But I asked you a simple question. I don't know if you remember it, but that was a real genuine question because I was like struggling between a point where it's like, okay, I might not be running down on every chick, but there's still this gray area where it's like, okay, if I could work on this, I could be a much better person,
Yeah.
and I would say that conversation between me and you actually changed, a lot of stuff for me. So
Wow.
I've been moving with a different intention, like just simply off asking the question because I really wanted to know. And I felt like a lot of people would just be like, oh, just practice it. Just practice it. It's good for you. But they don't really dive into why or what are the gray areas that you should avoid or whatever the case is. So thank you for that 100%. Thanks for bringing that up.
And I remember you was because, man, I was like, I'm always on go. I was really busy that day. But I remember taking time to answer your questions. I'm like, man, this brother asks a lot of questions, and like, and I'm sitting up there like, I'm telling you, that was a busy morning, and but I'm glad you was able to share that, and I'm glad that helped you. You know what I'm saying, during your as you go along the journey, because it is a journey. You know what I'm saying, and it's an amazing one. You know what I'm saying, and then ultimately you start attracting quality people,
Mhm.
because the
That's a
way you
fact.
treat them, you know what I mean? And right now, like, because for me talking about from personal experience, now I'm at a stage now where I don't necessarily want to deprive myself from touch,
Mhm.
and especially from touch from a woman. So of course, so I'm I'm lining things up that's like this is part of my self care routine, like massage therapy, touch therapy, Reiki sessions, and things of that nature. Because if that especially as we mature, what I'm saying, there's a study where it's actually, I read this book. It's called The Multi-Orgasmic Man. I believe
Wow.
that's the title of
That's
the book.
interesting.
Yeah, that's a really good book. And basically, what I found interesting, one of the things I found interesting in that book was he's mentioned how there was a study how a man who has sex and ejaculates every time, his lifespan is the shortest. And then
Mm.
a man who was celibate for most of his life is the is like in the middle. And the man who has balance lives alone. You know what I'm saying? So with reading that study, I was like, well, you basically, like, you need touch. You know what I'm saying? Intimacy is important, but it's just the way you do it and the space that you're in and the energy that you carry and your partner may carry. Because, like, some of us, man, sure, we may never get married. You know what I'm saying? We may never get married, but then it's like, what do we do?
Right. It's a
So
great point.
yeah, so but that's important. And then I know for me, it helps me to create better ideas, you know what I'm saying? Better songs. It's just like it's just a thing. But again, I think it's a period where, especially if you've been through things, you need a period of isolation. So,
Hmm.
yo, man, I actually saw something yesterday which I thought was very interesting. Redman went 2.5 years. Redman, one of my favorite rappers, went 2.5 years of celibacy, and he quit smoking weed. Redman.
That's interesting. I
Yeah.
mean, quit smoking weed is already enough for him to do, but that's dope. That's a great journey.
He was going through a nasty divorce,
Mm.
and and I found it interesting because you know when you need that solitude when you're going through some trying times in life, and it's
Hmm.
not that you really signed up for. I feel like it's just destiny. It's something that if you do the right things, is going to make you better. And he said
Hmm.
that was like one of the best decisions he could have made. Most people crash out. Most people who go through things, traumatic experiences,
Hmm.
they just go off the deep end. And he'd be like, man, you don't, to the point where you don't even recognize the person no more.
Yep.
However, if you spend that time to heal, if you spend that time to connect with God, your higher power,
Mm.
then it can really boost you up. Like my mentor told me, well, his mom told him, with every knock, there's a boost. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, all right, with the setbacks I had, with the woman who lied on me and tried to tarnish my reputation and financial hiccups and all that stuff. I said, nah, like this is all gonna help build me up. And I've been very, very intentional about how I move. I don't like to talk to strangers. Like I took it back to the old school. Was my mom used to say, my pops used to say, don't talk to strangers. I live by that as an adult because I'm very seriously, because living in New York City, especially if you know you're going places and you're doing the work, you gotta protect your energy.
I
Because there's a
feel
lot
that.
of people out here. Hurt people.
Yeah.
And the thing is, they'll see you going places before you even see it or feel
Mm-hmm.
it. You think you stagnant, you feel like you ain't going nowhere. They see you coming. But they like, listen, let me throw something at him. Let me trip him up on his walk of life. Let me
I
trip
need
him
to
up on
get
his
this.
journey because I ain't going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? It's like that. So I mean, you see celebrities, people of affluence, they move a certain way for a reason. Because if they just
Mm-hmm.
happen, you won't ever see someone who's generating millions and millions of dollars for a company or for themselves just randomly taking a train. There's
Mm-hmm.
a reason for that. Because most people they have to protect themselves. They have to protect their energy. Most people don't have what they have, and most people want to. The envy, the greed is like this. I want to take from that person because I don't have it. That's just the world we live in. So it's like, what you gonna do about it? Make sure you secure yourself. But the first thing first is like, especially if you have the courage, if you have the heart to create generational wealth for yourself. The fact that you even have those thoughts, it's like that's your calling. But you got to make sure you protect your energy, because if you don't, then it's like then you'll open yourself to so many people who pretty much are not on that type of time, and you wasting your
Mm-hmm.
time warding them off.
Yo, it's to a point where I actually get frustrated when I'm around certain people.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I feel my blood boiling because like I don't like to call people stupid sometimes. I like to say that they delayed in frequency, but sometimes I can't help but call them stupid because it's like, damn, son, like how did you not know this? Or how do you keep moving like this at this big old age? Like, it's just certain things that's just like, come on now, you gotta know better.
Oh yeah.
But then I realize a lot of people don't know better.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
and this is why I find protect your energy to be a little conflicting for me sometimes because I'm big on knowledge, and this is going back to the dude at the library that was always asking me that I should be learning something, and what did I learn today, and who did I meet? Um, it like for me, my aunt who was big in Christianity, she used to always say too. So she used to try to convert me, like she used to be heavy trying to get me into Christianity, and I didn't like the fact that she was forcing it on me. She didn't let me grow into it. But one thing that she did say that stuck with me was that you're always going to meet people that are messengers of God. And I don't exactly relate them to God, but when these people do say things or do certain things around me, I'm like, okay, I put the cape on and I'm just like, all right, time to save a motherfucker. Like, so you can't really save everyone, but I do find solace a lot of times in sharing my knowledge or my energy with people in hopes that they will see the light at the end of the tunnel. So a lot of times I try not to judge people where they are because I understand that I might have been one of those people way back then, even when I didn't realize it. You know, um, but I just deal with it like in the sense that, not everybody gets inside of me, by the way. There's a lot of people who never even hear me talk this much.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just say that. You feel me? So,
Right.
um, yeah, there's a lot of people that don't even know I speak. I'm gonna just leave it there, But it just really it helps me grow, I guess, as a person because a lot of times when I speak to some of these people and I might say something, I wasn't even intending on giving you like a whole jar of gems, it just spills out because I felt like this is what I was called upon to say. Same
Oh
thing goes with music. I'm one of those people, and I wonder if this is a factor of me ditching the rhyme books, which I low key hate myself for. Not hate, but I wish I didn't give that up. But anyways,
you don't
a lot of
write
times,
books no more.
I would love to get back into it. You know, I just kind of like
Writing your
I'm
phone?
always on the go. Like, huh?
You writing your phone now? You
Yeah, I
write
write in
raps on
my
your phone?
phone now mostly, and but that's because I've always been on the go. Like I'm always constantly go, 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 go. So I've like for me, it was like I didn't want to carry this book, or I didn't want to, lose the book somewhere. Because that's another thing too. Sometimes I become a little forgetful when I put things down. You know, so and I mean I'm a lot better at it now, but like I just kind of like I felt like anytime that I wrote something, that's what it was. Like I'm not the type to like write a song. I'm like, nah, I got to do it over. Like whatever I wrote, this is what the universe wanted me to throw out there.
Mm.
So a lot of times I don't really uh go too hard to question why I said something. I just know that it was meant for somebody. So
Right.
that's pretty much where I'm at with that. Yeah.
Mm, mm.
Um, Here's a question. You mentioned journaling, writing, even writing songs. Is there things that go from your journal to the rap book, from the rap book to the journal, that they're like an exchange of lessons or something that you feel like is helping you grow further?
Uh, I would like it to be, but for someone, for whatever reason, it's like it really feels like it's separate, you know?
Mm,
Because I
okay.
mean, because please, not journal, man. There'd be so much going on through it during the day and during the week, man. I open up that journal, man. I'll be writing like 7, 8 pages front to back. Like it's just crazy, but it's like it's just so much that's going on.
What
But
is it though?
then,
Is it a thought or like is it just like how does that writing process go for your journal?
oh man, it's just documentation
Mm,
of the life journey. Because I'll tell you this much, like I'm not gonna say much now, but I will say this: it feels like a movie. It feels like a
mm,
movie. It listen. It feels like a movie. So I'm I'm just like let me, especially this year. I said this year. I mean, it's already January 15th. We
mm,
halfway through January, and some in my spirit was like, this year is gonna go by really fast, and you need to journal more so you can slow things down. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I've been doing, and it's been helping, slowing things down and paying attention to certain things, my thoughts, my feelings, my actions to certain things, and
mm.
and yeah, just enjoying the ride. But I would say that if it's something that, because I have a slick mouth, so it's one of those things where if I say something slick, if it's something that's in I write it out in my journal, and then if I have a way of saying it in a slick way, like some wordplay, then I'll put it in my rhyme book. But it's for whatever reason, it's always separate.
Mm. That's dope,
You
though.
know?
That's still dope either way, and I feel like that says a lot about your discipline as well too, because you don't let them interfere with each other, no matter how much they can correlate.
Yeah, because I'm gonna tell you this. Because journaling is like things that I want to cast away, things that are happening that I don't, that it, like may get on my nerves, and I want to just write it out. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? To because we digest things every day. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Not just food, but we just digest things. So you got to get it out. So that's a
Mhm.
healthy way for me to get it out. So it's like
I
pretty
feel that.
much things that I don't want to deal with, things that I don't desire. The rap book is like things that the journals for the past, the rap book is for the future.
Mm.
Pretty much.
That's sick.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
sick. I like that, man. That's dope. Yo, man, I'm learning a lot from you, man. I ain't gonna steal none of your stuff, man, but I'm learning. I'm learning. I'm loving it, man. It's pretty dope.
Oh man,
Um,
appreciate that.
so you mentioned this year, well, not this year, but you said that over time you've limited um going just being out as far as an artist goes. I just want to say I relate to you in that sense because there was a point in time where I was out every single day performing. Um and yeah, it was costly, but I felt like I was getting something from it as far as like I was building a fan base out of it.
Hmm.
But it did eat at my conscience a lot. It was a lot of times where I went home and I was like, damn, I really didn't have to go there and perform. I really didn't have to be around these people. But I think we was talking about it in an earlier conversation where I spoke about my experience with Day Summit last year. Um, so I ultimately met an artist early in 2022, and this is like the beginning of the year, like in January. I was at a show, and the first thing he said was, "If you're not exclusive, you're never going to win in this game." And I was like, "What the hell does that mean?" You know, I asked him after the show, "What does that mean?" And he was like, "Well, if you're outside every day, then you don't give people a chance to miss you, and you don't give them a chance to be excited when you are outside." You know, so I definitely took that with me, and you know, starting last year, I made it a thing to only perform at least twice a month if I wanted to. It was usually once a month, but if I really felt like going out for that second time, it had to make sense. And it definitely benefited. You know, a lot of things that I did last year was simply because I chose to stay inside on most days, simply because I chose to tell people, no, I'm not coming to this event.
Right.
Even down to that too. I don't like a lot of my artist friends, and I know they probably hate me for it now, but they'll ask me to come to a show. The first thing I ask them, are you getting paid from ticket sales? If they say no, I'm not going. I'm not buying no ticket. I'm not, yeah, I don't want to be a part of it. Like that's, and I hope that I'm teaching them that they should look at themselves a little bit more closely, you know, and figure out what they want to do next. But for the most part, I don't want to be around none of them places again. And there were a few times last year where I did kind of, you know, lose the plot, and just because I wanted to support the homie or just because someone invited me, I went. Very little times, but every single time that I did it, I was just like, damn, son, I should have stuck to my word. Um, so what drove you to that? I mean, we talked about the cons of the showcases and stuff, but what pushed you to stand on that? Like, what ultimately was like, you know what? These places deserve me more.
Mm. Well, really, just all right. So, cause I've been through some things where income was the question. Is it bringing in income? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm,
and the answer was no. So now I'm like, okay, because there was a time where, I mean, just imagine this, right? You, God forbid, no, let's like put it. I'll make up a scenario. So, as a young boy, he's an artist. He's a hip hop artist, and he's trying to get his foot in the door, set a career for himself, right? But then he's in the shelter system, and you know, in the shelter system they have this intake process, right? The
mm-hmm,
shelter system also has a curfew, so 10
mm-hmm.
p.m. you got to be inside,
Yep.
and you telling your caseworker like, I know this curfew's here, but can I get a late pass? Because, I want to perform here, and then this is why I want to get my name out. And the caseworker simply asks you, is it providing income?
Mm-hmm.
And, so now what you gonna do? You know what I'm saying? And now, so then you start, because I know for me personally, I have to seriously think, okay, we do this for the love, but at the same time, it's like, bro, the DJs get paid, engineers get paid,
Mm-hmm.
promoters get paid,
Mm-hmm.
sound engineers get paid, everybody gets paid. Side the artist is the one. If anything, the artist is paying to perform,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
and the promoter's excuse is, well, you don't bring any people in. So how about this? How about I not pay to perform, save my money, and book my own show? Give myself a venue, give me a small little venue, and build it from there. Because it does. Because at the end of the day, everybody has to eat. Everybody has to eat. So why is it with the artist is due for the love? Or why is it that when the artist puts their business cap on, then it's frowned upon? When the artist starts talking about
Right.
publishing, the artist starts talking about royalties. When the artist starts getting smart and be like, yo, like I'm writing this great music, I'm paying out of pocket for studio time, I'm paying for the beats. Why can't I generate money from this? Why am I
Right.
setting myself up to where it's like I'm giving my energy away, but there's nothing in return? So when I fall on hard times, or when my a family member of mine needs medication, I can't afford it because I've been sitting up there performing for free for the last 2-3 years, not handling my business.
Talk about it.
That's crazy to
That's
me.
it.
So my thing is, I was like, no. So developing that mindset, and again, you and I, we are not artists where we serious about our work. We're not sitting up there asking for no freebies. We pay for studio time. We pay for our own beats. You got artists we're not artists who sit up there purchase who steal beats over YouTube and we perform it and be like, purchase your track today. We're not those kind of artists. You know what I'm saying? So it's only right that we start receiving some type of revenue. And
100%.
no one talks about that. Man, I was 22, 23 years old, think younger than that, and people like you sit there frowning upon me and sit there, all types of stuff, looking at me the wrong way because they thought I was only in it for the money. But I'm just like, no. If I want to provide financial stability for myself, I want to do this long term. It's the music business. I have to know the business.
That's a fact.
And that has to be taught to the younger generation coming up. Hey, you could do this as a career if you want to, as long as you like to. But you have to know the business. Because if you don't, you're taken advantage of. You're gonna be doing a lot of stuff. It's energy at the end of the day. The energy that you use to pay for a $400 showcase. You know what I'm saying? Preparing all this stuff. So you can use that energy to generate some solid income for yourself to where you're getting that mailbox money four times out the year. We don't talk about these things. It's like, man, isn't this a part of financial literacy? We talk about some, black power and, and black empowerment and Black Lives Matter. Doesn't my Black Life matter? Doesn't my livelihood matter?
100%.
And if I'm putting my energy, the same energy that I would put in a sanitation job, the same energy I would put into a dental job, but the doctor, whatever, as a working student, whatever, I'm putting it into my craft. So what I'm saying is, if I'm putting this energy, the same energy that I can use to do any career, if I decide to do this as a career choice, I deserve some type of revenue.
I agree.
And if I study the business the right way, because they say study long, you study wrong. But if I know enough and I have the right mentorship, I said I can make something happen. But to sit up there and do things, be running around with my head chopped off like a chicken, and sit up there and not receive any income, and then when times get hard and be like, yo, what have you done? Because at the end of the day, it's about results. All that stuff about you be on the fly and everything like that, and you perform this and that place and that stuff is cool. But if you ain't put no money in your pocket, then what was the point? Because at the end of the day,
100%.
it's money. And the artists who are successful, the money's in their mind.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because you could easily, there's artists out there who love what they do and they do this, but then they got to get a regular 9 to 5. And then they're not it ain't just any 9 to 5. It's a 9 to 5 that they despise, that they hate.
For real, bro. For real. It's not safe out there.
Yeah, man. Let me tell you something. I love doing security. Like I like doing security, like the private events. I like doing the security details when I'm doing the executive protection and doing security for celebrity stuff. Like I like the environments. But is that something that I want to do for the rest of my life? No. Do I want to get up every morning and punch in for something? No. So I have to make sure that my business in my younger years with my passions to make sure that, and it doesn't have to be 7 figures or more. I don't have to be a millionaire. I just have to make sure that I could look back 20 years from now and be like, listen, I handled my business as an adult in my younger years. So now that because of the work I've done, now I'm being taken care of without me getting up in the morning, clocking into some job.
Exactly. I agree with you on that, 100%. And ultimately, well, one of the questions I really wanted to ask you is to amplify what you were just saying. Has anyone ever offered you money for anything that you do musically?
Yeah, I had a show I had a performance actually, and the promoter, after the performance was over, she gave me some cash. I remember this was in the Bronx, and I remember holding the money in my hand, just staring at it, and I said, I only performed 2 verses. It was the whole song. I wrote it, and I had a singer perform the hook. And I said, I only performed 2 verses. This is a 3 minute and a half, 3 minute and a half song, and somebody paid me for this. You know what I'm saying? And that was like kind of, because I said, yo, this is something that I love to do. I didn't have to work 8 hours for it, and I got paid the same day. And it was like, it was so short. So, and I was young. I was much younger. So, to answer your question, yes. And now the goal is, okay, that's just the demand for the brand. You know what I'm saying? If there's a demand for my brand, then the money's gonna come. Money gonna follow it. I've shown enough to where I love it. You know what I'm saying? You love something and you do things from your heart without the money being the main focus. You get better at something and you keep on doing it. But now it's like, no, it's time for some tangible results, because the talent is there, the drive is there, the discipline is the focus, everything. I have it all. I have it all, and the reason why I can say that, because I've seen it in other artists. I'm like, bro, you got it. You got it. It's uplifting our game for a reason. I like to uplift. If I see someone with talent, but man, you got it. I've been like last year. I was running down on artists because we're all getting in our early 30s. Some of us in our late 20s. Like, listen, it's about that time where listen, we're gonna have to really lock in if we want to do this for the next 10 years.
Yep.
We're gonna have to really lock in. And I've been running down on artists that I know personally. I'm like, yo, man, you talented. What's going on? Why haven't you gone this far? What I be asking questions like that, giving it straight up.
No shit.
And they
You're supposed to, really.
Huh?
You're supposed to, honestly.
Yeah, and they give me straight up answers of what went wrong or what went right and this, that, and third. I'm like, all right, and I just take notes, because like when I launched my campaign, when I launched this campaign, it's like, listen, it's gonna be ongoing, because I know I became a fan. I became a fan of independent artists who I've seen for the 9th, 10th time. It wasn't the first time I saw them on my timeline. It was about maybe the 8th or 9th time when I'd be like, yo, okay, I gotta see this dude perform. I gotta see this woman perform. She's dope. She fine, and she look good, and she sound good. I gotta see her. I actually went to a performance, someone's show Sunday. I was literally I did, my services were called upon, so I did an overnight, worked the morning shift, and then I went to, I didn't get no sleep, and I went to her performance. She looked good and she sound good, and we got each other on Instagram. So I'm like, I'm gonna come out and support.
Who's this artist, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, Hayes. Shout out from Hayes from State Farm.
That's dope. That's dope. I ain't gonna go search her up. But I just thought it was an interesting, because I was thinking of someone else actually who's gonna be a guest on the show, I believe next Saturday. Yeah. So she just had a show last weekend, on Sunday. Yeah. So I thought that we were talking about the same person. No, but that's very dope though, because I look at it that way too. A lot of times that I love to go to events where I'm just like, yo, I'm fully immersed by talent. Like, I just love being, and I'm a fan first. Let me just say that. I'm not a fan of anybody, like, in the independent scene. I may rock with you, but I don't want to be, like, fan mode, It's more like a student of the game still. But I'm a fan of the art in general. Like, I love to just be in the crowd. So, like, my thing is I hate when people perform and they leave. I perform and I'm right in the front of the crowd. I'm watching everybody. You might see me pull out my phone and record you. Boom, boom, boom. So I really take pride in going to these events where there are lesser artists The sound check is present. You know, like all these things are going to make sure these people put on a show. And then you
Right.
see these people take the stage and they don't show an ounce of nervousness. They just show
How,
that they're prepared for the moment, confidence. Yes, even down to the way that they dress and stuff like this really, really, really reeled me in. And I did a show in November. I want to say it was my second time performing in theater. I didn't think about it because the first time I performed in a theater, it wasn't presented as a theater performance. Even
mhm.
though we were in a theater, it just didn't. For me, I guess I kind of didn't look at it that way. But when I was doing this show right here, I did two things differently. One, I had two 30-minute sets, so it was an all-day show. I did the AM, and then we had a PM section. So I was there literally for like 12 hours
What,
in
what,
that
what, what
one.
was, where was this? What,
This
who's hosting
was
it?
November 9th. It was the Fear Free show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I did it at Marjorie Dean Theater, which was in 46th Street and Broadway Ave on 10th Avenue.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically, there was that. I performed for the entire day, and then I also switched outfits. I've never been able to do this for a show. So
Yeah.
I swapped from my street clothes to a whole suit. And the reaction when I walked across that stage was just amazing. Like I couldn't forget about it. Like I still think about it to this day. Every time I look at the video, I'm like, damn, I can't believe I actually decided to do this. Because I was really just gonna show up in street clothes, but I was like, nah, we in the theater, we're on Broadway, we about to be in front of a lot of people. Why would I go out here and do some basic stuff that I do at a regular lounge or whatever the case is? So moving forward, and also meeting you afterwards, because that was like I think 2 weeks after was the vendors event. Yeah, seeing you in the suit and performing, like just seeing this more and more often is like, yo, this is what I want to do. I low key want to just get dressed up every time I have like a nice little show, and like to show people that I'm really about the business. So it's really dope
Presentation.
when you tap into it. Yeah, when you tap into like what you need to do, how you want to do it, and then you start seeing the outcome of how people look at you and show you love. I'm like, yo, amazing.
Yeah. Real talk. Real talk. Yeah.
Word, my brother. So we've been at this for a minute. I don't want to keep you too long. I know it's type late. We both got stuff to do.
Yes.
Um, so I wanted to close out this interview by asking you if there's anything that you feel like you need to share with the people watching. So it doesn't matter who's watching now. There are a lot of people that watch this afterwards.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah. I would say stay focused. When you find
Hmm.
yourself, when you discover yourself, and you know what drives you, you know what you want to do and how you want to do it, stay focused on it. Nothing else matters. You know what I'm saying? Because especially if it can help others. You know what I'm saying? That's a thing. Like, stay the strength of your spirit. No matter, get high on your own supply. Stay high on energy, frequency, vibration. You know what I'm
Facts.
saying? And we all been through things in life, but no matter what someone does to you, no matter what's been done, find refuge in the Creator, because
Hmm.
then life is beautiful, and you don't want. I'll tell you. I'll leave with this. I told somebody I was arrested, right, for something, right, and I was in the back of the van. This was recent too. I was in the back of the van over some stupid stuff, and I remember this guy next to me. He was crying because he didn't want to lose his job, and he was blah blah blah. His girl put hands on him, and he tried to, like, it was a whole thing. But she called the cops. So when that stuff happens, they have to arrest you, whatever. So I
Hmm.
remember he was crying, and I told him, I said, man, like, you know, it's all good, man. You're gonna get through this. And I told him, I said, man, this is only a page in your book of many chapters.
Hmm.
So when you go through things in life, just remember, like, I've been through some things personally and still going through some things, but I always take into account, like, man, my life is so beautiful, so fulfilling, that this is just only a page in my book of many chapters. So let me just focus on the good and focus on even during troubling times. Let me focus on the good that will come out of this. Me being on the other side. Sometimes you gotta put it in your mind. You gotta be the main character in this movie that's being played out. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be a superhero. You gotta be your own superhero. But that just comes with the focus, with the discipline. And for the young men out there, again, if you can control your sex appetite, your food appetite, if you can control those two things, there's pretty much nothing that you can't do. So whatever you want to do, make sure you go full throttle and see it through. Write things down and be intentional. Be mindful of the energy that you surround yourself with, because people are hurting. And if you're healing, you know what I'm saying, you're going to attract hurt people, but just make sure that you use your discernment of how you mingle with them. You know what I'm saying? Because you have a higher calling, and you don't want anybody, they'll bring you down before you could bring them up.
That's a fact, man. Thank you for that, man. For real. It's been a blessing having you, man. This is definitely one of my favorite episodes of the year. You know, we
Oh,
just
yeah.
started. We just started. It's like my third episode this year, man. So, yo, actually, you make episode number 40. So I'm just glad that I'm growing. You know, I've been doing this for over a year now. So to reach 40 episodes and have quality guests every single episode, amazing.
Oh,
So, and you're
man.
nothing short of that. So I appreciate that 100%, my brother.
Oh, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate you for having me. And it's going to be a fulfilling year. So maybe at the end of the 2025, we can recap. You know what I'm saying?
I'm actually working on an in-person spot. So when I get that situated, there's a lot of people that I want to spin the block on and have them in person so we could really see like how that works, you know? Because this is cool for people and stuff like that, but to see us in one room and chopping it up, I think the people would really love that a lot more. So it's in the talks, my brother. It's in the talks.
Yeah. Keep me posted, and shout out to everyone who tuned in, man. And the engagement was really cool to see.
That's a fact. Appreciate that, man. I'm glad you got to see that too. You deserve it for real, man. So till next time, my brother, we definitely gonna keep chopping it up, and you know we're gonna let it go.
Yeah, man. Much success, prosperity to you, man. And I'm gonna just stay abreast to what you got going on next, man.
Appreciate that, my brother.
All right. Salute. Peace.
All right, guys. That was today's episode of Going Live with the MC. Unfortunately, our episode for Saturday has been postponed. This guest will be back on the show. It's just not the right time right now. Let's just leave it at that. So moving forward, I will be announcing Monday's guest on Saturday. So make sure you guys tune in. I'll be making a post about it, and let's get ready for next week. Peace.